Hell, it's about time.
Damn right, it's been 20 plus years since we got a sequel to Crash 3. Now of course I'm not talking about Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex and Crash Bandicoot Twin Insanities and other terrible shit that came after that. In Japan, Crash Wrath of Cortex is the 4th installment of the game and Crash Twin Insanities is the 5th. So what would it be in Japan? To be honest, I don't care, they can figure it out themselves. I just thought I might as well bring it up. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've played some of the Crash Bandicoot titles. I've played all the PlayStation 1 releases, nearly all of the PlayStation 2 releases, and that's about it. After Twin Insanity, the franchise was dead in the water. No one knew what to do with it except now. So how is this bigger, badder, bolder game? Well, it's fucking excellent and rage inducing. When you start the game, you have a choice on how you want to play the game. Either choose modern playstyle that is recommended by the developers that lets you have infinite restart when you die, meaning you have no life. It's pretty sad. The other playstyle is retro, that is the same as the old titles. Example, if you lose only 3 lives, then you have to start at the beginning of the level, even if you were on your last checkpoint. And trust me, I know how that feels. So the choice is yours to choose either one. As with me, I went with retro because I wanted to see if this game is harder than Dark Souls. The gameplay is relatively the same if you play the Insane Trilogy. Crash can do spin attack, double jump, slide, crawl, jump and slam to the ground, and good old regular jump. I will say that jumping in this game is much better than Insane, as I felt that Crash slows down when he flips mid-air, but here I didn't feel that. Plus the game has a reticle, so you now know where you're gonna land, and that made it a lot easier. It's good for newcomers, but like, if you choose retro, it shouldn't be there since I'm playing it old school, you know? And in terms of platforming, Crash has 2 new ways to get around. First is skating through the branches like Tarzan, and the second is wall running like Prince of Persia. You need to be a lot more careful with that one though. The crates have the same purpose, smash them to get all the gems at the end of the level, and everyone nightmare when smashing boxes is missing one. Damn, that's annoying. However, the Wumpa Fruit also has a purpose, rather than being a mindless collectible to get an extra life when you collect 100 Wumpa Fruits, if you're playing retro though, because you have lives to spare. Nevertheless, collecting 80% of the fruit will get you 3 gems, one for 40%, one for 60%, and one for 80%. There's a hidden gem in every level, some you get by accident or just exploring the level. I got a couple of them, and the last gem to collect is completing the level without dying. Well, you have 3 chances, but why take the risk? You can also collect flashback videotapes in the level, but the catch is you can't die, and you have to look out for them in the middle of the level. And getting those tapes will unlock training mode, that is in a 2D environment. It reminds me of n.brio bonus stage from Crash 1, and it is very poop. Like, if you want to collect all the boxes, then my thoughts and prayers are with you. The training mode takes place before Crash 1, so it's a prequel, as Crash is a test subject for Cortex in 1996. It has a cool VHS visual distortion, and you can listen to classic Crash soundtrack. The level design is fantastic. I love the atmosphere and vibrant colours, very detailed to a specific time period. It mixes 2D and 3D platforming while giving you something extra like power-ups or using your wits to 100% a level. But one thing I didn't like is that sometimes there's too much going on the screen and I can barely catch up or take in the sights because I either be skating or just being overwhelmed. For what I've seen, there are 2 new crates. The fire crate that emits fire, wait for the fire to go out and then break it, and the red exclamation mark that reveals more boxes, but this time on a timer. The bonus level makes a return with some difficulty later on, like for one instance, and keep in mind this isn't the hardest one, but in the level there's an invisible crate, and you have to reach the end of the bonus round to hit a metal crate, and spawning all the rest for you to strategically hit boxes on the way back and collect them all without dying. However, in the bonus round, you have infinite retries and you spawn next to the platform that takes you there, but then again later on my patience ran out. And I will say that my favourite hobo is Mosquito Marsh. I love the nightlife and the marshes, reminded me of Rayman 2, plus the music in those levels are good to listen to. Crash can be very expressive, or so I thought. You can see the fear when he enters the cave in the first level, or in a sequence when he's being chased by a dinosaur, and whenever you finish the level, you see different Crash poses that he'll do, and that same goes for the rest of the playable characters. This game brings back one element from Wrath of Cortex, and that is a mask. Unfortunately not the elemental mask, even though I miss their terrible charm.
You want a piece of me, Bandicoot? Huh? Do ya? Ha! Wuss!
But in total there are 4 quantum masks that will help you on your journey and give Crash new powers. I don't know their names except what the powers are. Starting with the first mask you will meet, that has a power to warp the level, bringing back things from another reality, like crates or platform. Point is, you press a button and things pop up, and this will become a puzzle. I recently played Prince of Persia the Forgotten Sand, and it reminded me of the Prince's power a lot. The second mask grants Crash with the power to spin longer, breaking everything in your path. except for TNTs and nitro crates, but has the power to jump and hover to reach long distances. Again, this power will become a puzzle on how you use it at the end of the hubble of the game, and also this power is way too similar to Crash 3 warped jump spin move thingy. Third mask grants Crash with the ability to slow down time. This power is the best, and it's self-explanatory. Certain level it is impossible to go further beyond because certain paths will be fast for Crash or platform will constantly fall, so you have to slow down time to quickly jump to the other side. You can touch nitro crates within power, just get out of the way when it explodes. And the final mask is the power to flip Crash up and down, changing gravity. This power is trippy. Sometimes you can change the gravity mid jump and just, this power introduces all the rage within me. I do like it that I hear each mask interpret Aku activation thing. When you get all the masks, each one of them are unique. The mechanics in of this game took me quite a while to get used to. I mean, in the bonus round when you have the mask that can change the level and crates, doing that back and forth while sometimes doing it in the middle of the jump to spawn a platform and vice versa in the level, it was hard trying to get my bearings together. The end world and last mission was a fucking nightmare. That part fucked me over. I died like 50 times due to this fucking Uncharted 3 knockoff bullshit that it reminded me of, as you have to adjust to the moving boxes. The other level is when you continuously have to use a mask back to back. That was jarring. Worse is that you have to do it again as another perspective. Oh god. I forgot to include this, but another level that pissed me off was when you play as Torna, because in a certain part of the level you have to quickly jump over these hover cars, and that's really hard to do. And you don't have to do it once or twice, you do it like a third time or more. Not only that, there aren't many checkpoints in between, and of course when you die a lot, checkpoints do spawn in eventually due to difficulty adjustment, but like I said, it's unfair. You have to quickly jump, you can't even double jump, and this certain part is in 2D environment, and you can't stay in a vehicle for too long or else it's going to be hard trying to get to the other side. And saying that, there's a new mode in Crash 4 called Inverted. At first I thought the controls were inverted, but no, the level is very dark. Crash has a sonar thing to see, and spin attack reveals more of the level for a small amount of time, and everything is highlighted, like enemies, trap and platform that'll fall if you stay on it for too long. And the level itself looked like it has no texture, like an early build to show what is bad. I thought that was it for all the levels, but no, it isn't. The second hub world has a strong cartoon effects, like everything is bold. The third hub effect, you can paint a blank canvas, spinning, skating, belly flopping, what more can be said? Fourth hub world has a water paint type effect, that's a given since the world is themed around Japan stuff. Fifth hub world has an all grainy movie effect, you also feel a lot faster, or is that just me? Sixth hub world has a comic book effect, to a point where hitting anything, you'll see pop up text. Seventh hub world is a goddamn colouring book. Eighth hub world is, I don't know this effect. Ninth hub world is a freaking underwater world. My goodness, everything feels so slow. And the 10th and final hub world is a 32-bit Crash 1 graphic style with an arcade point system from smashing boxes and enemies. I mean, the devs didn't have to do all of this in the game. It doesn't feel stale, like there's a shit ton of replayability in this game. My favourite visually is a colouring book and paint your own world. You can play couch co-op, either racing against each other in a Bandicoot battle or pass and play. If you have two controllers, you can take turns controlling Crash, and you can swap at a checkpoint or when you die, or both. And trying to 100% this game or more is going to be even more difficult. There's a crap ton of collectibles. Like I said, you have to complete the level by getting 6 gems, then doing it again for inverted more 6 gems, and getting a perfect run, plus finding the videotapes and completing the training mode 100% by breaking all the boxes, and completing the time trial quickly as possible for the platinum relic. Okay, now I want to talk about the cast of Crash 4. Mainly the villains. Now I love everyone that comes back, but there's a few things I didn't like. Starting with n.gin's voice. I don't like it how they made it too demonic to a point where I didn't understand the bloody creature. Thank god for subtitles. Another one is n.brio. I didn't like it that he doesn't have his unhinged mannerism from the Insane Trilogy. It's quite comical, but I guess things has to change, and I understand that. Cortex on the other hand was hilarious in this game. I don't mind his design either. He still looks like stupid hammerhead Cortex, I know. What caught me by surprise is that you can play as 5 playable characters: Crash, Coco, Cortex, Torna and Dingodile. Crash gameplay style is the same as previous titles. Coco, Crash's sister, is the same as Crash except she gives a peace sign whenever she jumps. Torna has a complete makeover and a new design. Some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. I don't mind, I just don't like her all kawaii bullshit.
Aww, kawaii!
Her gameplay on the other hand is fun. She has a grappling hook that can grab boxes way after the foreground and using it to reach new places. She doesn't slide like Crash and Coco, but instead uses her feminine power to slam her fist on the ground, breaking metal wooden crate, and she can wall jump bounce thing. Dingodile is a weird one. Never expected to play as a dingo Aussie alligator. Nevertheless, the dingo is retired from villainy, taking it easy. He even got his own diner that is super delicious, but then it gets destroyed and time to play as a dial. His gameplay is new. He can spin attack like Crash, but he has a vacuum gun that can suck up anything for a short distance. He can use his vacuum gun to hover jump and suck up TNT and throw it at wherever you want to throw it at. Dr. Neo Cortex, the last playable character you play out of the rest. His gameplay is simple, he aims, he shoots. He does change his enemies into metal platform and jelly platform to bounce on by shooting twice on the same target and third to reset it. Cortex can't double jump, but instead can dash in midair as a substitute for his lack of acrobat. He really is a true scientist. Unfortunately, Torno, Dingodile and Cortex have certain levels dedicated to them. Only Crash and Coco can be used for most of the level. However, you can see different perspective for certain missions. Like for Torno, you can see what her agenda is and how she crossed paths with present time Crash and Coco, as in her timeline they both died. But like when Crash has to run away from n.gin radical rad car, in Torno's perspective she was the one to, I don't know, I guess activate it or stall it for a brief second, I couldn't tell. So stuff like that you'll see, and the same goes for the Dingo, as for one instance a cannon goes off blowing the gate for Crash, of course by mistake. Dingo's a changed man. As for Cortex, he tried to kill Crash by blowing up a ship, but premature ejaculates through his nose and well, ship happens, just like the title of the level. And I will say I enjoyed the hidden messages of the level that the devs named, very naughty. And Dingodile is the only one who swears, by far my favourite character in this game hands down. Really a good job. You have a crap ton of skins to unlock for Crash and Coco by collecting 6 gems in each level or doing something different. All the costumes are awesome, they even have the classic costume. As for the boss fight, in Crash as a whole they have a few good ones and a bunch of awful fights. Like the good one are engine fights in Crash 2 and 3 and the final fight in Crash 3 with Cortex. I do like Ripperoos boss fight as he is another one of my favourites, and the bad ones being Papu Papu. Most of Crash 1 boss fights are basic, and Cortex Crash 2 final boss fight, ugh, that was bad. I could really go on and on, but as for this game, they're really good. N.gin fight was really tough, like always. His boss fight in the Trilogy never disappoints. n.brio fight sadly is the same as Crash 1, only having a slight difference. I mean, he jump on green goo and he turns into Hulk. Dr. Neo Cortex first fight is another excellent fight, way better than Crash 1 and 2, maybe even Crash 3. The fight, you start with the mask to slow down time. Now if you know the pattern, it's a cakewalk, but from my first experience it is quite challenging trying to remember Cortex pattern and using the mask accordingly. There's a new boss in this game called Louise. It's a fish. It's tricky as you're stuck on a jet ski and have to maneuver around the tentacles and pirates. The best thing to do is load the pirates to the tentacle so it can damage the big fish. Overall, a decent fight. n.tropy fight is a bland, awful fight. Since you use all the masks, it's quite easy, although at the beginning you skate through the dimensions, which is cool. n.tropy falls in love with himself. Ugh. Well, it's his other dimension that's a female, but they're still the same people. Dingodile has the best reaction though. Cortex final fight was difficult. He snatches the mask away from you and uses it against you. The trippiest one was the mask that changes gravity, but for this instance changes the screen upside down. I thought I was hallucinating. Honestly, best fight in Crash series by far. I just wish that we see more of the returning cast rather than seeing the same old n.gin and n.brio like Koala Kong or Ripperoo. Unfortunately, Uka Uka isn't in this game for very long. He's only in it in a brief second in the opening, helping Cortex and n.tropy escape from the dimension that they are stuck in. Surprisingly, there's a shit ton of Easter eggs in this game, if you're well known with Crash. Like you see Spyro at the beach in the first level, and the balloon version at one of the other levels, alongside with, I think it's Skylander, and fake Crash is dancing as he ski through this heavy stream. It was funny, and those are the visual references I found to understand, but they're talking references things as well. Like in Toxic Tunnel, Cortex makes a reference to a wombat, which in early stages of Crash 1 was one of the candidates to be Crash, but instead of calling it Crash, they were gonna call it Willy the Wombat. And in Cortex's first fight, he says feel the wrath of Cortex, of course talking about the game. Not really though, but that's what my mind went to. I don't know if this was a bug, but the background music stopped playing midway and Crash landed. Either way, it doesn't matter. This game is awesome, and a true calling to the classic trilogy and the remake trilogy. Lastly, I want to say that the voice actor for Aku Aku passed away, so thank you for your memory of your talent voice. So I thought I might as well try it out myself. A boogly job. Thank you for watching. Make sure to comment, like, share and subscribe, and you'll see me in the next video. Hopefully. Bye bye.